Well, obviously I'm doing the Woody Show shout out, so y'all need to hide your Woodies, hide your Ravy, hide your Greg, and hide your Minutes, because they kill this shit around here. So you can run and tell that, homeboy. Homeboy.
All right. Time to see what is happening. What's the big talk in the world of news headlines, Gregory?
Well, hope is still alive because there was no winner in last night's Powerball drawing.
Oh, boy.
Sweet. Nobody won that $794 million. So the jackpot will now climb to $835 million. Awesome.
I'm starting to believe that, they have control over this because they figure, because I remember the days when the lottery used to spend a ton of money on marketing.
Sure.
Right? A ton.
Yeah.
Now they don't have to do that anymore. They just let the jackpot grow enough. Everybody starts talking about it. I feel like these jackpots have gotten bigger and bigger more often than they ever have.
But that's because they increased the number of balls.
Right.
Yeah.
Increase the number of balls, increase the number of states.
Balls.
Right.
And also inflation, when that happens, a lot of people start gambling a lot more and drinking.
Don't you roll your eyes at me, Ravi. You're the one. You're just at the Steelers-Raiders game, and the 50-50 raffle thing came up on the screen.
The 50-50 guy came right up to me, asked if I wanted to buy, and I'm like, nope, scam.
And she goes...
and the look on his face was like...
All right.
Nobody's ever said
She looked at me, it was like $186,000
yeah, it
for
was
the jackpot.
huge
And she goes, you know who won that? Nobody.
But,
What does it
would
cost?
you like to buy 50-50 tickets? Nope, it's a scam.
What do those tickets cost?
I don't know.
Depends on how many you buy. You can
Yeah,
get,
you can buy,
It's
30,
5,
50,
10, right,
1,
exactly.
5,
like,
whatever.
nope, it's a scam.
We've had listeners who have been winners.
Yeah.
I'm
not saying it never happens. They have an occasional winner to make you think it's legitimate.
Right.
But that went into the Raiders slush fund. That $182,000.
Yeah.
That paid for Lil Wayne to perform at halftime.
It's the most expensive ticket in the NFL, and they need the money.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, for sure.
Absolutely.
They announced the winner. It's
Doesn't
John
matter how much money
Smith.
you have, you always want more.
Yep.
Yeah, of course. The cash option, by the way, out of $835 million, $390.4 million.
Oh.
That seems
low.
low.
You could live on that for a billion lifetimes,
I mean-
but still, that does seem low, right?
Yeah.
There was that guy that won the $2 billion.
Right.
Yeah.
And so I was reading this thing. It said, like, after everything else, after the taxes and everything, he ended up with less than $1 billion. Okay.
Oh, for sure.
Weak.
Yeah. No. Not weak.
I know,
But the way the guy's been spending, like, he has bought so many.
Buying these big houses.
$50 million house, $38 million house, $25 million house.
Yeah.
Like, and here's the thing: you have these houses, sure.
Yeah.
You know what the market is for a $50,000 or $50 million home?
Small.
Yeah.
Very simple.
You are stuck with these things.
Small.
Right.
Upkeep, maintenance, everything else. So, like, first
Property
of all,
tax.
Yeah.
yeah, you've already spent however many hundreds of millions of dollars already on property.
Yeah.
Property that's not easy to unload.
Exactly. Yeah, you're not going to
It's like
flip
small.
that in a couple of years.
So anyway, I was talking about this with a buddy of mine who's a financial advisor, and he's like, that guy's going to end up being broke. You watch. Like, what a story that would be. You won $2 billion,
Wow. Yeah.
and you end up going broke.
10 years later, you're
Yeah.
broke.
Wow.
I want to believe your conspiracy theory, but you can't rig this because you have your ticket in front of you, and they
No, I
have
know.
announced
I know.
the winning balls.
It just
Well,
I-
they know
my-
all the numbers, Greg, before the drawing.
Right.
So
It's
it
all-
is a possibility.
That's true. They do check. That's
I don't really believe it's a setup. I'm just saying it's just interesting how there's so many more of these giant, massive $1 billion,
Right.
$750 million jackpots. I never remember this being so frequent.
Yeah. And then nowadays they say this is the 7th largest jackpot.
Right.
I lose track.
Right.
Yeah, from last week.
Exactly. Which one's the biggest one?
Right.
Anyway, I'm never going to win, so it doesn't matter. The writers' strike, everybody talking about that. The Writers Guild says it was because of their strength and their solidarity that they reached this tentative deal with movie and TV producers. And they also say that the contract was that got negotiated is exceptional, and it's going to have meaningful gains and protections for writers in every sector.
Good.
Nice.
So they sound pretty happy
Good.
about it so
Glad.
far. Strike, though technically not over, picketing has stopped, but the union is telling members not to return to work until they get the green light. Seems kind of obvious, though.
Yeah.
But it does look good. Union seems happy with this new 3-year deal.
They said the late night talk shows will probably be the first to return.
Sure.
Okay.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
Because those are daily. This was reached, by the way, 5 days before the strike would have been the longest in their history.
You think like Jimmy Fallon, those guys are bummed?
Well, vacation's over.
That's what I mean.
Maybe.
Maybe. Gotta go back to work.
It was so nice, like
You
when
know, because they're not struggling.
COVID first hit. Everybody like 2 weeks, guys. We're gonna have to stay home.
Yeah.
Flatten the curve. Everyone's like 2 weeks at home, huh?
It
Wow.
sounds great.
Rip.
I miss those
And then
days.
people started doing remote work, and now all of a sudden the companies are like, "Well, I got to come back to the office 2 days a week." 2 days a week.
Oh,
Never.
Holiday over.
dare you! Right. Is it me or can NASA do just about anything? The latest thing they pulled off
Oh, that's cool.
was capturing a soil sample from an asteroid and then having it parachuted back down to Earth.
Yeah, well, this asteroid is apparently headed toward Earth. Will come somewhat close to Earth. I mean, by space mass.
Space
Oh, yeah.
terms,
You know what I mean?
Like 4
it's
million
gonna
miles or
yeah,
something?
Yeah, it's going to get super close. It's going to be within like 30 million miles.
Right.
Oh.
So
Oh,
the
boy.
sample
Or whatever it
is from this asteroid called Bennu. It orbits the sun about 50 million miles above the Earth. They dropped this soil sample when it was only 63,000 miles from Earth. And after getting the soil sample, dropped down to Utah, and now NASA's going to study it. And what they learned from it, they say, can be important in the future. And the asteroid, by the way, it's going to come dangerously close to Earth, might even hit Earth in the year 2182.
Yeah.
Oh,
So
we'll
that's
be so
why.
then.
That's
Look
why.
out, everybody.
That's why I'm freaking out.
Yeah.
2180. I'll be old, but I'll be here.
The sample got back and they're like, this looks like dirt.
Right. What can we learn from this? I don't know what they're going to learn from it. And did you see that Brian May from Queen was involved in this
No.
project? Because he's a real astrophysicist, and
Oh,
he was
right.
somehow involved in this soil sample project from that asteroid. Lego, you're going to like this, Woody, spent 2 years and a giant mountain of money to figure out how to make their Lego blocks out of recycled plastic
that's
bottles.
right.
Well, now they're ditching those plans because they learned doesn't reduce their carbon footprint at all.
Zero.
So they're not moving forward with making the blocks out of those old plastic bottles. They say that they use those old bottles for blocks that would require just too much production equipment. So it
Yeah.
defeats the purpose.
They've tried a couple different things. They tried to make the blocks out of something completely different.
Yeah.
Right.
Altogether,
Yeah.
not even plastic bottles, and they were like warping and wouldn't like hold their shape, and kind of has to hold its shape for it to be.
Yeah.
But it
Good-
doesn't
good
mean
Lego
they're,
brick.
they're not giving up, though. They said they're looking into other ways to cut emissions because they have this goal of being carbon neutral by the year 2050.
Well, can't you just buy carbon credits? Just buy some credits.
Yeah.
Offsets.
yeah.
Offset.
Offset. You throw some
Yep.
money at something.
Right.
You see what I'm
See,
saying?
I've offset my carbon footprint.
Yeah.
Yeah, plant a tree.
Because I
make
planted
a Lego.
trees.
Yeah.
Right.
Mattel gave
How
me
much is that? $50. Okay.
All right.
Mattel gave me this Hot Wheel that was like completely biodegradable, but it like feels and looks absolutely
Really?
Yeah.
no difference from the regular ones.
You keep it in your toy box?
Yeah. My drawer.
Okay. Well, that's the latest one.
All right. Thank you very much, Greg Gorey.
You got it.
Dude, crazy story that married Pennsylvania state trooper. Did you see anything about that story?
No.
He is facing false imprisonment charges. He detained his ex-girlfriend and then had her committed to a mental health treatment program under a bogus claim. This goes right into my whole like fear of like being
Wrongly.
accused of something or whatever.
Right.
And they're, because this guy's a cop, so they're going to believe, whatever he says.
Right.
This 37-year-old guy, Ronald Davis, he got arrested last week for abusing his authority. He had faked some emails saying that he was a state trooper, got an order approved, and then tracked down his ex in a state forest, forced her into the car. And by the way, there's video of all this.
Okay.
Oh wow.
So here's the guy, and he's got his buddy videotape, and they're in the middle. This is like Deliverance, like in the middle of the woods somewhere, in the middle of nowhere. Like how? I mean, what was she doing out there? Like, hey, want to meet up?
Probably
Like,
hiding.
meet up at the Target parking lot or
Yeah.
something.
Right.
And I don't know all the circumstances of like, if she didn't know that she was going to meet up with him or didn't, he just kind of followed her into this area.
Okay.
But he had her committed to a mental hospital for 5 days. And, yeah, dude, it was crazy.
That's so
Like,
strange.
watching the video, she's like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
And he's like doing these like these holds, like he's got her like on the ground, and they're waiting for the cops to show up because he called the cops and made up all this stuff. Dude, that is my biggest nightmare.
Wow.
So now he's got all these,
stuff.
now he's got all these charges, and you see his face. We always talk about like oh, don't judge a book by its cover. You see his face, he looks nuts.
Okay. You can judge this book.
Oh my God, this book he just looks like one of those guys who gets drunk with power.
Oh, okay.
You know?
I'm looking at him now.
Right?
Yeah.
I know.
First impression,
Oh,
right,
wow.
Greg?
Yeah, look, he looks evil, basically.
It looks
Yeah.
like Michael Chiklis in the sheet.
He kind of does. He kind of does.
Who was another character who was drunk with power.
Yeah, like he concocted this whole story that she was considering harming herself, and it was, dude.
And she said
Wow.
she didn't need help.
Yeah,
Wow.
and this was his side chick. He's married, like I said.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, my
Right.
God.
Yeah, so good times. What a douchebag.
Wow.
Yeah, I felt so bad for her, obviously for a number of reasons, but also living out my worst nightmare.
True.
God damn.
He has to do hard time for that, right?
Oh, dude,
He's also triple
he's
her
so
size.
screwed. Oh yeah.
Poor girl.
Yeah.
877-44 Woody. And I was thinking the whole time when I'm watching this video, I'm like, what is she thinking at that moment? Like, oh my God, what? Like, how did I ever even end up with this guy in the first place?
Right. Yeah.
Oh, this is crazy.
Like, at one point, they were super cool.
Like maybe she found
hooking up
out he
and-
was married and
Yeah.
broke
maybe.
it off.
Right.
Yeah.
877-44 Woody. Hit us up with that text over to 22987. We're going to take a quick break. Got some more Woody Show for you next. Hang on.
The Woody Show will be right back.
It will happen.
More Woody Show.